Chris Evans from Kings Park Nursery in Bournemouth Borough Council, and today I'm going to show you how we make a hanging basket. Now there are some basic things you need to make the basket with. One of course is the basket itself. This is flat bottomed because it stands on a table or on a bench, as you can see in the nursery, really well. If you have a round bottom basket, you may have a little bit of a problem that when you put it down it rolls all over the place. So we prefer a flat bottom basket. Nice strong wire one, not too weak at all. We have a chain with it, and this particular chain only has 3 connections on it there. If you're going to use a basket from the year before, just make sure that these aren't rusty, because if they are rusty or they're a little bit rotten, of course it's going to be heartbreak when you hang it up and it snaps and the basket falls down. Or even worse, you walk by it and it falls on your head. This is a 12-inch basket, by the way. We make them up to 18-inch. I would suggest if you've got a normal bracket outside your house or wherever you are, you probably need no bigger than a 14-inch basket. 16 and 18-inch baskets are very heavy, up to 40 or 50 pounds in weight, about 20 kilos, and probably a bracket won't take it, and you'll probably find a big hole in your wall. We use a liner, and this is made of jute. So basically it's a waste material, and it fits neatly inside our basket, our 12-inch basket. You can use things like recycled wool, and you can make your own liner in it if you wish. Some people like to put a little bit of plastic. We can use a bit of old compost bag, and you cut a circle, you put it in the bottom, and that just holds a little bit of the water for a reservoir. This particular liner is hairy on the outside and it's plastic on the inside. And what we do is you put it inside like so, and then you can see there, just put that round, neatly fold it right the way round. Now it doesn't matter if the liner is just over the wire, not too much though. You don't want it too far over, because it may, when you're watering it, may kind of collapse a little bit. So there's our basket. Now I'm not going to put the chain on yet, so I'm going to put the chain on after we finish planting the basket. So we'll put that to one side for a minute. One of the main things you need to have for a good hanging basket is good compost. Don't use last year's compost. If it's soggy or it smells, definitely not. It's best to get fresh compost if you can. Try and avoid cheap composts. Although they may be perceived to be good value, in the long run it can cause a lot of problems. Now we use a peat-based compost. Now some people may say, why use peat? Well, we've tried recycled products before and they kind of work alright, but the peat that is extracted, and we do get it from Ireland, is just an nth of the amount of the peat that's used worldwide and doesn't cause huge problems environmentally. Now I shall show you. We have a scoop, and we make our compost in what's called, it's a very old-fashioned term called a dolly, which is a trolley with wheels on, and we just can move it around the nursery. We have a scoop, which makes life easy for us, and we scoop it in to the basket. Now in this compost as well is a water retentive gel, which we use. It's a bit like a silicone product, and it swells when it's with water. Now you must mix this in the right amount, so follow the instructions carefully in whichever one you choose. If you do too much, it will explode into a jelly mess, and I've seen that plenty of times. We also use something called CRF, which is controlled release fertilizer. You can find it on any shelf in any goods nursery, and this particular feed that we have will last 4 months, and it'll give a good round feed. You won't need to feed your basket for about 3 or 4 months. After that, use a general well-known liquid fertilizer and just water it in, and I'll talk about the watering later on. So we're going to start putting compost in the basket. Now I've put 1 scoop in, I'm going to put 1 more, and then I'm going to stop and show you why. Okay. Level it out, lightly put your fingers in just a little bit, just to firm it a little bit. Don't cram the compost down, because what will happen is you take all the air out of the compost, and when you water it, it would hold water so much like a sponge that really it would be very bad for the rooting of the plants into it. So you want a nice kind of mixture of air and compost within it, and something that water can drain through quite freely. What we're going to do is we're going to plant some plants on the side of the basket. Now we use impatiens, but you can use any number of training plants. It's not a problem. There's a little trick you can use here if you want to plant it within there. Instead of trying to stuff the root through the hole and possibly damage the roots, what you can do is just get a bit of plastic, just wrap the plastic around the plant. This bit of plastic's maybe a little bit too big, but it should be alright. I'm going to feed that through the hole, like this, get the plant in there, take the plastic away, and the plant is done. And it's sitting very nicely right up against the liner there. Now, here, the level of the compost is at the level where I'm putting the plants in. So you get an idea that you don't want to fill it up too much, then have to dig through the compost again. So that gives you an idea of how to put a plant on the side. Now I'm going to put some more compost in on the top. There we go. Now I'm going to level it off very carefully. And then I'm just going to gently firm that compost a little bit, and I'm going to level it as best as I possibly can. Now you want the level of the compost obviously below the metal bar there, because if you water it, of course, and it's above, then all it'll do is the compost will just pour out the side. So there we are. And also you want it nice and level as well, because obviously with the level of the water going across, if it's not level, it will just tip to one side, and then all the water will fall off. So we've got ourselves a fairly decent basket there. I'll tap it once, there we are. Now, how to do the top of the basket. We normally put one fuchsia in the middle. It's either semi-trailing, you can put upright if you wish. Now an upright fuchsia, of course, does what it says in the tin, and it will go upwards. It may interfere a little bit with the chain, but not too much. A semi-trailer would, of course, go up and over. This, I believe, is Heidi Ann we're using at the moment. We have probably use about 7 or 8 different types of fuchsia for a basket. It's personal taste when it comes to actually, what colour you would like and what colours you have in the basket. It can give you some ideas anyway. I've just made a little hole in my fingers there. I haven't gone like that, just carefully put it in. You want the top of the level of the compost of the plant with the top of the level of the compost of the basket. Just firm it once, and now you've got your central plant there. Either side of that we put a trailing begonia. These are called begonia illumination, and I'm going to put one just there and one just there. It kind of usually naturally goes off in one direction, so if you can point that outwards, it kind of helps. Firm it once. So we've got the central display of our basket there. Now I put a few impatiens as well, either side of the planting here. So I'll put one there and one there. You don't have to. That's a bit of colour to it, quite nice. I predominantly picked a scheme where it's whites and pinks and purples. Now I've used, for the outside, and I'm going to plant 3 plants that side and 3 plants this side. Now, I have chosen a Bacopa, lovely white flowers, very floriferous, grows really well in a basket, really likes it. A Calibrachoa. Now Calibrachoas are like small petunias, these small flowers. This is a really pretty one. And a lobelia. Now you can choose seed sown lobelia, but we use cutting raised lobelia. This is from the Waterfall series, which is particularly nice, and that will come over and that will flower and flower throughout the year. And I've chosen a couple of petunias. Now these particular ones are Sophinias. You can use Fanfare as well, which are quite good petunias to put on the side of the basket. One of the things, if you're using, for instance, 2 petunias, to get the balance right in the design of the basket, you want to put one petunia in this side. Don't plant it right up against the liner. Leave a little bit of a space between planting and the big up. So just put a hole in about there. So you've got a little bit of compost in between the liner and the actual the thing itself. And I've put 2 petunias there. And when you look at a basket when it's in full flower, you have this more balanced effect of the petunias coming out either side, and then you have the other plants coming either side here like that. And that combination there gives you, it's unusual, but it works really well and it looks right. So you set yourself quite a nice balance of the basket there. And last but not least, of course, you've got to water the basket after you've finished. Now, watering is very important if you pot up any plants or do any hanging basket whatsoever. What you don't want is a shoot of water. But what you do want is a gentle kind of rain effect like this. Now I'm using a lance on a mains, and we're going to just gently go over it. Gently go over it. And let that water just go in nicely. That first water is so important to establish the plant and get the compost to connect with the plant and the roots. Just let it soak in a little bit more, and there we are. Remember, watering is essential. That first watering is really important. Afterwards, don't overwater things, but don't underwater them. If you overwater them, you're going to wash all the fertiliser out of the compost. So getting that balance is just right. And really that just takes time, and you can work it out from there. And last but not least, we have to hang the basket up. Now, you can leave the basket on a table or in your greenhouse for about a week before you hang it up. Sometimes that helps establish the plants a little bit better. But when you're ready to go, make sure that the chain is firmly on the basket, so of course you don't lose anything there. Make sure it's untangled so it doesn't spin around. Make sure that the ring is okay, and just put it up and just secure it. Make sure it's okay, and then leave it. Anyway, from me and Fluffy, the nursery cat, we'd like to say goodbye and have a great summer. Say goodbye then.